all back again. My name is Devang, and I'm a business growth coach and a consultant. And we're going to talk today on a very important topic, which is of close to heart to me, which talks about developing entrepreneurship and not new businesses. And we'll talk about it, but and not by promoters or founders, but how can you all as HR professionals? I understand if you attended the session somewhere you may be directly or indirectly associated with the HR field, or you are an HR professional, or you are connected to HR in some way or the other. Some basic rules. We may want to keep our videos off, but we'll take care in unmuting and will not unmute until it is required to do so because it disturbs everyone. Writing notes is preferred. And whenever I ask to take part in some event or activity or a game and etc., and when I ask some participative questions, all of you are required to please take full participation. And if you're attending, humble request to go through the full session around 1 or 10 minutes is what we are going to talk about. Very heavy words mentioned in the title: fostering entrepreneurial culture. Fostering means helping grow. Entrepreneurial means doing something new, innovation, etc. And culture means making it a part of practice. One more heavy word: strategic impact. Now, we want HR to play a strategic role, which it usually does not, and I'm going to talk about it today. HR largely becomes a mechanical role. They're always collecting. Niketan, please mute. Niketan, thank you. So the role of HR usually is non-strategic, and it's a tactical function, and it gets restricted to collecting people for small events of Holi or others and picnics. And over a period of time, there also people come to attend by force and etc. So we'll discuss about that. So this is the brief agenda which I want to take you through. I will talk and I will share a story narrative, so it will not be required for me to go through all the points in detail, but briefly. So I will talk about concept of entrepreneurship, role of HR in general, what has been the emerging role of HR, and how to create entrepreneurship within the organization if you want it to be done. And if you want to create, what are the challenges and what role HR can play. And if time permits, we can discuss two major case studies of Tata Innovista and Mahindra Rise as a campaign. Tata has been an entrepreneurial culture for quite some time now, and they have been developing employee entrepreneurs for years together, at least under the leadership of the new chairman, Mr. Chandrasekhar. The culture is changing. In our consulting parlance, we tell that if you want to change the culture, change the leader. So if all of you here, or many of you, or few of you who are attending are leaders in their own perspective, are leading large teams or small teams, mind well, please don't mind, I'm so sorry to tell that, but mind well, you are the problem if there is any. Now, you don't have a right to complain about what people are doing or not doing. You don't have a right to say that people are not following my instruction, they don't come on time, they don't submit my reports, they don't behave entrepreneurially, they're not giving their best, and etc. You as a leader have set the context for doing things right or wrong, and people actually don't end up doing the things which you do. People don't end up doing the things which you say them to do. People end up doing the things which you do. So you are the mirror of the organization. You are the sun of the organization, SUN sun, and you are the central globe. So as a leader, preferably in HR, I don't know how many of you are HR leaders, but yours is a very, very important role. And you cannot make it a temporary or a tactical role. You're not allowed by the whole dynamics of the organizational growth to make it a very routine time pass role of what you usually end up doing. So we're going to talk about that. Concept of entrepreneurship is not new. It is a very old concept. An entrepreneur is a person who will find an opportunity, find a pain point from the society, is bothered by something not happening good in the society, converts that idea into an opportunity, builds up an economic sustainable venture around it, earns money from it, sustains it, and grows it. And largely, initially, he is busy, but slowly, when he gets people duplicates, when people start behaving like him, and he gives the organization to someone else. As for example, when you see Google, who is now managed by Sundar Pichai, Google was handed over to Sundar Pichai by the founders, and the founders started Alphabet, which was a new company, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai was made the Google CEO. So that is true entrepreneurship. And in its own sense, a classic example of entrepreneurship also, because an employee was given opportunity to rise to the tunes of becoming a CEO. And then that CEO, again as an employee, is managing the whole organization as an individual business person, but is getting paid salary to do so. So concept of entrepreneurship is not new. It is a very old concept. And usually entrepreneurs have to mobilize land, labor, capital, resources, and very many things to start up their businesses. And once the entrepreneur collaborates and creates a structure around it, I sense entrepreneurs are like musical orchestrators. Have you seen A.R. Rahman, or have you seen any other musical orchestra manager or owner? First, he has a dhun or a tune in his mind, and then he arranges players, the music players and the instruments, and then he sets them in a flow, and then gives some external directions, and the end result is a tune or a song or an advertisement or something. Now that's the role of an entrepreneur. And once the people start doing things on their own, he sets himself free from the one thing. Entrepreneurs are also like gardeners. They have an overall scheme of the garden in their mind. They find the right seeds, they plant the right seeds, they keep distance between the seeds, and they nurture the seeds by an external environment, sunlight, water, fertilizers, and then they allow the seed to convert into a tree themselves. We cannot push a seed to grow. We just can nurture a seed to grow. Similar sense in employees, in organizations, in leaders. And I don't know how many of you are people leaders, but you cannot push a person to work hard. You can just inspire, you can just invoke, you can just, as for example, we send this message to around 1 lakh people. I don't know, maybe more, or I don't know, 1,000 people, but 35, 40 people are wanting to attend this. Now, just receiving an invitation and getting triggered by it and attending is one side of the story, and having excuses and reasons for not attending it is the other side of the story. So entrepreneurs are people, those who invoke. Leaders are people, those who inspire people for action. Entrepreneurial leaders are leaders which make a change in the organization. They initiate everything. But we're not talking as of now of in-company entrepreneurs. We're talking of off-company, genuine, real-life entrepreneurs. From this team here who is listening, if anyone is an entrepreneur, just type yes in the chat box. Individual entrepreneur, not working anywhere, but working for his or her own sake and running either a small scale or a large scale business. I just want to have a check. Anyone is an entrepreneur or all are employees? If you're an entrepreneur, please write yes. Why yes? If someone is an entrepreneur, please write yes. If no, no problem. Nothing to write. Yeah. Anyone who's an entrepreneur here? Great. So all of us are employees or self-employed people, which is okay. Yeah. So in general, what do entrepreneurs also end up doing is entrepreneurs take risks, they try and innovate, they have a visionary ability. Usually they're open-minded, they're very fluid, they're not rigid, they know the product. And why do we want entrepreneurship in the society at large? Factors are written here, but in general, if we remove entrepreneurship from the society, the wheels, the economic wheels of the society will stop from moving. It is the entrepreneur who, for the desire to sell his products, creates an innovation and creates an aspiration. All of us want iPhones or whatever products we use. It is Steve Jobs, who is an entrepreneur, who created that aspiration within us. Any products that you bought was earlier an aspiration. Any services or products that you want to buy is again an aspiration. For creating this aspiration, entrepreneurs create product and services. And you as a consumer are wanting to work hard, wanting to get extra income, wanting to earn more to get the benefit of that aspirational products and services. So role of entrepreneurship in society at large is very, very well understood. There are only 3 to 4% of the population who are entrepreneurs, but mind well, and this is not an entrepreneurship class, but mind well, those 3 to 4% of the society runs, manages, and controls the other 96%. Because with due respect, we all are employees, and we are working for people, those who have started businesses. If you are an employee, and imagine the structure that your boss or your leader or your owner has created for you to flourish in his or her company. And imagine the way, if you're there for 5, 6, 10, 15 years, because of his ability to pay you salary, your home is running. आपका घर उनके पैसे से चल रहा है largely. आप उनको वैल्यू भी दे रहे हैं, no problem, but his ability to think through. So I personally feel, if you want to develop a nation, if you want to develop a corporate, if you want to develop a society, if you want to develop a community, either create entrepreneurs or improve the entrepreneurial potential within. If you have a child who is a teenager, age 14, 15, 16, make them entrepreneur. If you're a teacher or a college faculty, tell the students to become entrepreneur. And according to me, it's a very starting a business and doing an economic activity is the height of it. But even though you don't start a business, you can be entrepreneurial. You can be entrepreneurial in your behavior. You can be entrepreneurial in your attitude. You can be entrepreneurial in your work styles. As for example, if an employee is always problem creating, he's an employee. But if an employee comes up with solutions, he becomes an entrepreneur to that level. It is not always related to starting new business and earning money. If I'm in a problem, if I'm in a crisis, and if I follow scientific principles and methods of how to solve that problem, I do a root cause analysis, I analyze my environment, I find opportunities, I present strategic alternatives, I negotiate on that alternatives, I mobilize resources for that alternative, I present the solution to my higher ups, take ownership of the solution which I have presented, and execute the solution with full accountability and mastery, is also entrepreneurship, at least for that problem, right? So according to me, entrepreneurship is the most important arena in this modern world, because entrepreneurship at a business level and entrepreneurship at an employee level keeps the society moving, a better world, because entrepreneurs are constantly in search of problems of the society, and they want to convert these problems to business opportunities and help people like us to live a better life and make the world a better place to live in. Employees usually are not entrepreneurs, but they can be if they are told to be. They can be if they are made to be. They can be if they're told that, yes, you can kind of do it. And the spectrum of employee entrepreneurship is very large. On the left-hand side of the spectrum, we are talking a simple employee having a normal employee potential and not starting a new business, but wanting to show entrepreneurial potential in his task, behavior, actions, and communication. On the right-hand side of the spectrum, employee entrepreneurship is about a current employee starting a business, running it successfully, making it profit-making, developing a team, finding an opportunity, solving a pain point, mobilizing resources, making payment, this, that, other, and all of this being done even though he's a paid employee. So he doesn't lose the status of an employee. Rules do apply. All other rules do apply, but he also is an employee entrepreneur. So something of that sort. I'll take a pause here for a while, maybe 30, 40 seconds, 1 minute. I want some of you or all of you to kind of reflect back and tell me what are you thinking, or what are you reflecting, or what is that you're getting from me. I've just done 2 or 3 slides. I'm starting with the concept of entrepreneurship. I'm telling that entrepreneurs do have some skills, or the process of entrepreneurship is very challenging. And I'm also telling to the fact that entrepreneurship is very important in society. And I'm also telling the fact that not all are Not all are born entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurship can be learned. I will also launch in a while after our small discussion, usually what is HR doing these days and what it needs to do and etc. But I'll take some time to do that. Yeah. Can someone unmute and if someone wants to share what some reflection if I have done? And if you're a leader leading a team of 5, 10, 15 people, um, I mean, what is your experience of working with people? Do they at least complete their bare minimum work? Do they come to office and go away 2 punch 1 lunch model? Or I don't know. I mean, so I want someone or all of you to share your reflections on what you feel from what I've shared quickly. Can someone help? Unmute and speak. Any doubts in the question, please ask me. I'll re-explain again. I want you to share your experiences and reflections from what I have talked in the last 5, 7 minutes. Quickly. Yeah. Can someone share, please, quickly? Anyone? Yes, please. No one? Are you all listening? Yeah, some person has written in the chat. And it should be a participation. For freelancer, we can consider entrepreneurship. Yes. So you're a solopreneur, but you're not employed in any organization. So you're a part entrepreneur, but you're not running a large business. So you're a solopreneur. Are you getting anyone else? Very good. Anyone else wants to share something, or I shall move ahead? I don't know whether all of you are listening to me or not, also because I'm not able to see your faces. So if you interact, it will be great. Someone can interact, please. And it's not compulsory, although, but if you interact, it's better. Okay. So yeah, any comments, any reflection, any thoughts quickly? Anyone? Okay.
There
I'm
is a
okay if you
comment in
choose.
chat of, yeah.
I read that.
Okay,
That I
okay,
read.
all right.
That I read. Great. So large organizations have their own complexities, and uh, large organizations, once they become large, they have two types of employees. One type of employee is the Generation Z, what we call Gen Z, the Instagram generation, the people those who aspire for doing more in less time, the people those who want more money without working, the people those who are kind of using technology, the people those who cannot be commanded and controlled, the people those who are to be set free, and the people those who have seen the world more than us. They become mature at an early age, and their emotional stability is largely very high. The other segment of the people which have started working in organizations is people like us and me, maybe after 38 and between 38 and 50. So we call ourselves middle-aged people. Neither we are old nor we are young, but we have 15, 20 years of experience in the same or different organizations. And we are at a cusp of our growth. And we have our own issues with our own self. Some of the issues are like, I'm not growing enough. I want challenge in my life. Life has become over to routine. I want someone to trigger me, invoke me, inspire me to do more. I've got an extraordinary clarity over my task, and I want job enrichment. I don't want to start business, although, but I want more, and I can do more. And there's a exact opposite side of this story. Young people, 18 to 25 years of age, Generation Z, Instagram generation. These are the guys who are aspiring. These are the guys, those who know more things. These are the guys who have come in the startup world. These are the guys who are just fresh drops, for fresh pass outs from the institutions at a very high salary. And at a leadership level, my assessment has been both of these type of people are not okay with tell and sell model of leadership. Both of these type of people are not okay with authoritative and command style of leadership. Both of these people are actually at their own inflection points of life and wanting to do more, wanting to give more. And both of them are difficult to manage. The juniors are difficult to manage because they've got umpteen number of opportunities outside, and the seniors are difficult to manage because They can decide what to give and what not to give to the organization. You cannot make them work at a level at which you want them to work, because threat doesn't apply to them, power and authority doesn't apply to them. Money may motivate, I don't know. And what has HR been doing in this type of organizations, large organization? HR, I'll send the video later, but what has HR been doing is HR has been very, very dormant, very docile, very ideally it should nurture innovation and organizational growth. Ideally, HR should engage people for better performances. Employees. Ideally, HR should tell the issues and concerns and challenges with the culture. Ideally, HR should drive a free spirit in the organization, but it doesn't happen. HR people get stuck in their normal rut of recruitment and selection, onboarding and orientation, training and development. So all of these are operational tasks. I see very limited, and I'm open to challenge if someone wants to challenge me, but I see very limited orientation of senior HR professionals. With due respect, there can be very many people here also. But in my professional consulting and in my professional coaching, I have found very few, 1 out of 10 HR leaders who is developmental oriented. They're busy in their operational routines, calling and following up and documentation and verification and exit management and doing functions which don't mean anything and just clicking photographs and maintaining records. And so with due respect, current day HR fellows have become administrative clerks to the CEO or the promoters. They call themselves HR, but they are superficial data entry operators, according to me, because payroll has taken more precedence, leaves and absence has taken more precedence, and productivity, long-term longevity of the employee, career planning, cultural sensitivity, entrepreneurialism, and etc., which should ideally be the role of the senior HR leader, strategic leader, has gone down to becoming calling and feedback, managing police stations for some employee going away, taking signatures, maintaining records, possibly bullying employees to do things which they don't want to do. I remember an organization, a private organization, a university somewhere in Ahmedabad and in Saurashtra in Gujarat, where around 600 senior professors at salary 1.6 lakhs to 1.7 lakhs were forced and coerced by the top management to do election duty work. One associate professor lady, double PhD at 1.9 lakh salary, will go to a elections center and will just do one thing, will apply black ink on the fingers here. I'm not telling that we should not support the election commission, but where I'm coming from is HR has lost its relevance and they become more operational. Now, I don't know whether this role is good and bad, or what does this role do for some other issues of some other points which they technically manage are performance management, relationships, compensation, HR information systems, compliance, engagement, and exit. So everything which comes from entry to exit is largely the role of the HR. Now, this is an old role. This has come from foreign countries, and this is an old part of this story. This is called old school of HR. And I'm not telling it is bad, it is good, and it is required in large scale, non-system driven, non-professional government bureaucratic organizations where they don't want to grow and aspire, where the hunger for growth of the promoter or the owner is very limited. And in that type of things, the senior HR leaders will be able to do all of these basics. I mean, in my analysis, a good amount of HR leaders are not even able to do this task better. So these are not entrepreneurial organizations. These are normal process-oriented systems organizations where the role of the senior leaders or the HR is just to maintain the status quo of the system. What I'm going to talk, the topic which I am kind of picking up, and I'm just taking you back to the topic. The question which is being asked is, can we develop entrepreneurial cultures in our organizations? And if yes, what is the meaning of the word entrepreneurial culture? Why do you want employees to be entrepreneurial? Why do we want employees to act as business people in a given organization? What benefit does it bring? What loss does it bring? in the organization, and who can do it, who is the right person, how to identify them, how to give them work, how to separate them from the normal work hierarchy, and etc. This is what I'm trying to talk about. And I'm wanting to position and pitch HR as the central keystone of an organizational drive for creating and fostering entrepreneurship cultures, with or without the employees liking it, with or without the promoter pushing or cajoling the HR to kind of do that. So, yeah, this is entrepreneurship. Any questions coming up? Should I pause for a while or should I move ahead? Please tell me. Are you getting a sense of where I'm coming from? So I'm trying to now suggest what is the role of stupid, simple, routine, um, orbit rule or process rule of HR. So this is it. Let me pause for 30 seconds or 1 minute and listen to any questions if you have any. Yes, please. Quickly. Any reflections coming up? I'm just trying to launch the concept. I don't know whether Team HR will be able to develop entrepreneurialism in the organization, whether it is easy to do, whether it is tough to do, whether it should be done, not be done. What will be the change in the organization if entrepreneurial cultures are developed? What will be the change if entrepreneurial cultures are not developed? Why should a medium to large scale organization think of developing entrepreneurial cultures? These are the questions which I am struggling with. And HR, if they are busy and if for them all of these is not exciting, and for them if all of these is a further stretch on all what they are doing, I hope the whole topic which we're discussing is not valid for them. Yeah. Any reflections? I'll stop for a minute quickly. Anything that someone wants to share, talk? थोड़ा तो बोलना पड़ेगा. I'm not
Yes,
talking.
sir. Good.
Yeah. Good. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
Acha. Good, sir. It's a good topic. While regular activities of an HR is very important to run the day-in-day operations. The
Yes.
topic which building the organization with entrepreneur-oriented skills.
Yes.
Okay, in the increasing trend of increasing the profits,
Yes.
contributing to the society, okay,
Yes.
and to the nation. So no doubt, building entrepreneurial skill within the organization is very important. And I think HR is a key role, to identifying the people and inputting the skills required is very important. That's what I feel personally.
Very good. So if you allow me, Mr. Bandy, I would want to ask you a question is, why do you
Right.
feel developing entrepreneurial cultures is important? Because it's not that easy as it looks on paper, because you're telling an employee either to become a full-fledged entrepreneur at a salary level and start a new business for the organization within the organization on the right hand side of the spectrum, or on the left hand side of the spectrum, you're telling him to behave entrepreneurially and do things faster, better, cheaper, like what an entrepreneur would have done. So the game, as you rightly told, is to help the employees develop an entrepreneurial mindset while they are working as employees. Now, three questions, but one of the major questions, Mr. Bandy, would be, why is now the right time to showcase this to the people? And I mean, and in perspective, we are talking of two sets of employees, which I also talked last time when we canceled the class. One was the Generation Z, which is growing in terms of workforce. And second is the middle-aged people like me who are 15, 20 years of experience. Now, these two type of employees and the current context of AI, this, that, etc. Why is it become important for organizations to start thinking of? Thank you, Mr. Ajay. Thank you, Mr. Satish. Yeah, we'll continue till 3:40, 3:45. Thank you. Prachi has already answered. Yes. And yeah, so there is an age. Yeah. So Mr. Megzik Chike, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce, but I don't know. There is no specific age to be full-time entrepreneurs. We are not talking of being full-time entrepreneurs. We are telling, can we as HR leaders or can our promoters foster entrepreneurial mindset in the current employees while they are working in their current organization. So, Generation Z, I don't know whether they can be leaders or not, but if you see the startup culture, it is the young generation who are doing maximum startup these days. So, do they do they um, do they have a content like this? I mean, so yeah, Mr. Bandi, you want to share something, or can we move ahead? Why is developing entrepreneurial mindset becoming more important this context of time, and why is it more important for the Gen Z or for middle-aged professional? That is the two questions which
What I feel is, sir, with the increased demand of customers, and the organization goals, or the increasing the profit levels. So probably, if you allow the work, an employee to work as an employee, so probably he will be habituated to a routine work. So by promoting, or by encouraging the people, and building the competency, probably the mindset of the people can change. They, instead of an employee, they can work as an entrepreneur, and so that they will help for the organization growth. What I personally feel.
Correct. Thank you so much. So the role of HR, I'll send the video later to you, but the role of HR has changed. The 21st century HR leader is not allowed to do traditional functions. I mean, it is understood they will do traditional functions, but their role in terms of doing these traditional functions, I mean, is there, but the larger role is to help develop entrepreneurial mindset in employees. And so the whole nature of the HR function is changing. Nowadays, we want HR people or HR leaders to be strategic partners. They need to be sitting with the promoters, they need to be sitting with the owners and driving the business growth of the organization. They need to manage talent. They need to be very creative in getting the right people on the right level, changing the organizational structures and being very dynamic. They are now responsible for creating an employee experience using internal marketing techniques where the employee himself or herself becomes the brand agent of the organization. And analytics is coming in a big manner. So being able to use HR analytics and productivity assessments, this, that, other, and we're bringing change in the organization. So rather than being custodians of a process which continues for a long time in the organization, what HR leaders now need to do is create a context for change, because in the VUCA world which we are living, volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, and etc., things are changing every second. Now, if your organization is not aligned to those changes, I don't know where your organization will go. We cannot solve the new world problems with old world thinking. DEI has been emerging as a very big field: diversity, equity, and inclusion. Be it gender parity, be it country parity, be it caste parity, be it culture parity. So many things are going on, many things, and the system and the process and the environment itself doesn't allow HR leaders to be dormant, to be static, to be working in only one orbit, and to be doing things which they ideally are not supposed to do. Technology is changing, HRIS, ATS, etc., and employee advocacy, representing interests of the. Now, these are the modern day times where employees will come and negotiate with you. I want to start a business. Will you be able to give me capital? Employees will working. Employees will come and tell, I want an entrepreneurial way of work. I want independence. I will not want to work by the way my boss wants me to tell. And they're all high performing people. So to Gen Z, if you're not going to listen, or to the middle-aged professionals who are shouting out loud for the change, and if you're not going to listen to them, they will part ways with you. The middle-aged employee has a choice. He may start his own business. He may start a business within the organization without the organization knowing it. Or he may be a dormant, stupid employee who just comes and goes and work at 5 to 6% of his total potential. The Gen Z will quit. The Gen Z will not stay and will go to culture which is open. They will go to organizations which give them flexi time. They will go to organizations which respect their entrepreneurial dynamism. So we have been trained by our society not to be entrepreneurs. We have been told to get a good job, to study hard, and then to take part in something in a job and stay in a job and listen to bosses and etc. So our generation is a bit different, but the younger people are very dynamic. They don't want work directions. They don't want to be told to do anything. They want their own, and they want to do jobs. They will. Many of them will do startups, but if you're not able to, it's like sunlight. You cannot store sunlight. It will come. It's like water. Water will find its way. You cannot stop it. I mean, you can put it in a vessel, although, but the world in an organization, the internal world of the organization is divided into two major parts. One are the category of people, those who have no aspiration, those who are actually stones, I mean, those who are liabilities in the organization, and those who do things for the sake of doing it. They do bare minimum and leave, and they're just there for the salary of, and they don't want growth of themselves nor of others, which is very many are there. But quite a few in every team are entrepreneurial. They want to do something new. They are asking for you for challenging tasks. They want to take part in the organizational strategy process. They want to start their own businesses within the organization. They want to work as independent CEOs or the division heads or department heads or regional heads. They are capable enough to take 3x, 4x of their work potential, which you are giving them now. But what are you doing? As an HR leader, you end up measuring them on whether they have come on time or not. You end up measuring them on how many leaves they have taken. You end up measuring them on have they completed the KRAs or the KPIs. And the worst thing which you are doing is you are pushing them to be on a bell curve, the goods, the not so goods, and the averages. I mean, people with entrepreneurial potential are all around you. I'll tell you one example. Prachi, who is here from Submastery, is an entrepreneur herself. And if the boss doesn't manage her as an entrepreneur, she has her own ways to go, which she will not, because the boss is managing her as an entrepreneur, not giving direct work instructions, not controlling her, but just giving guidance. And once you trigger the employee's entrepreneurial ability, once you trigger the employee at the right chord, once you develop a mindset of the employee to work for your organization, you don't go back. I'm not telling all are like this, but at least 2 to 3 people in every team in one organization. I was working for around 9 years. I was a dean at a business school in an Ahmedabad-based college. I was treated like an entrepreneur. So they took my entrepreneurial assessment test. They do it for everyone while I joined. And there were around 12 entrepreneurial competencies on which I was measured, highest score being 25. My average score was 23, 24. And immediately, see the speed of response. The HR was smart. And I was to be given a given role, a given salary, this, that, etc. I was to be a teacher. But the HR person was smart. And they were an organization who was wanting entrepreneurial cultures to develop. Now she took my assessment sheet to the MD and told her MD that, sir, this is an employee, this is a possible employee. He has applied for the job here, but I don't see an employee in him. I see an institution in him. See the difference of the communication. I don't, and she told me later, so I know all of that. Sir, I don't see an employee in this person. I see an institution in this person. We need to treat him separately. So then I was given all the normal routine, this and that, and etc. But slowly the treatment which was given to me changed. The MD, after 1 month of my induction, etc., called me and offered me something. He told, Devang, we are in the process to revolutionize the education sector in India. And we see that you're not a normal employee. I mean, you are an employee, but you are not normal. You are an entrepreneurial potential employee, and we know you'll not start your own business because you don't have that risk appetite. You don't have the capital. And do you want to behave like an entrepreneur while I give you a salary and while I give you an X amount of growth without you asking? I told, yes, sir, I want to give. And you'll be surprised to know the single line mission statement which he gave was, I want to do something big in education sector, in the MBA education sector in India, not done before. I'm ready, sir. And he asked me, what is the type of reporting that you want? I told, sir, every 10 days I will come and talk to you and I will share my doubts. Operationally, I know the mission. I'll have to build a business school which is the best in India, and there are parameters to be the best. And in 1.5 years, we built a business school which was not there in India. We built a guaranteed placement, non-AICT, non-UGC, experiential learning oriented, non-residential business school with around 58 subjects in 2 years, and an educational philosophy, which I can take a separate session about, but an educational philosophy which is still not there in any business school of India. And we did an anti-industry work. We went against the industry and we did something which was never done before. Now, it started by the lady identifying me at the recruitment level. And the rest is history. I started with around 67,000 rupees a month in 2008. And while I left them in 2017, I was at around 3.5 lakhs. So in 9 years, 6 times salary growth I could take, and they gave me. And then they offered me to be a profit partner and this and that. Now, there are very many examples. Now, the question is not that I had the entrepreneurial potential. Everyone has. The question is that the people, those whom you are working with, do they identify you or people like you? Do they give you separate privileges? I was given a privilege of my in punch and out punch not to be measured. I was given a privilege that if I have signed a document, it will not be checked by anyone, not even by the MD. I was given a privilege that within my role, the decisions which I take will not be counter questioned. Now that trust, that freedom, and I built up a business school with around 42 employees with a per year turnover of around 20 crores. And I ran the business school for around 9 years and gave the organization between 17-80 crore rupees of corpus single-handedly. And I behaved like an employee. I got monthly salary. Now, this is a clear example of an HR driven. So what did the HR do? The HR did not bring its HR nose while I was working. That's the way it bitched them, it bit them. It was very painful for the HR team to create a context, to create a culture where I would flourish, because I was given special treatment, because I was bringing revenue for the organization. I was charged up. I had the entrepreneurial capability. So these are the new roles which HR have to do. One of the roles is also to create entrepreneurial kind of potential. Yeah. So let us listen to this video for a minute and then any reflections until now. So see how we are progressing. We started by defining what is entrepreneurship. We started by telling why entrepreneurship is required in the normal world. We also told that HR does traditional functions which are not required. We told that there are 2 types of employees, the Gen Z and the middle-aged. Both are dangerous, but both are good, and both are tired and frustrated with what they are doing. Both have entrepreneurial potential, and both need not be led by the talent cell or the autocratic or the authoritative way of dealing. And both either will start businesses within the organization or leave and start businesses outside the organization, or will go to an organization which gives them freedom and space, independence to work, this, that, etc., and which treats them as an entrepreneur and not as an employee. Then we talked about the traditional roles of HR, and I'm not against them, but they're not required for, they can be outsourced, payroll and everything. And it's all mechanical. And I talked about 11 new roles of HR, and one of them being creating entrepreneurship or developing an entrepreneurial potential within the current employees of the organization. Any reflections? I'll pause for a minute. Any reflections, any thought that you want to share quickly? Anyone? Any reflections you want to share? Where are we now in the session? Do you think it is easy, difficult, hard to develop entrepreneurial potential, and can HR do it? For me, it was done. But I mean, so if you are HR professionals in your own organizations, someone comes to you and tells, I want to start a business, I want to be treated as an entrepreneur, would you give him or her the leverage to do that or not? I mean, what do you think? Have you been an entrepreneurial potential employee in your organization, and have you gone out and asked for independence, and whether was it given and not given? If given, what was the output? If not given, what was the output? Anyone can share, please, quickly. Let us make the session interactive quickly. Yes, please go ahead. Anyone? Hello. I want participation. Otherwise, I mean, it's no fun in speaking to a dead computer. Yes, please. No chat box. Please unmute and speak. Yeah, I'm okay with self-training can be a source. So I'm not wanting to develop entrepreneurs in organization by self-training, sir. I'm so that people will always do it. I'm wanting the HR or the promoters to play a pivotal role in doing so. Because in not doing so, they're missing out on employees' potential which lies unexplored. Some famous author has told the crematorium in a city is the wealthiest and the richest place on earth because the people who die with them also die the dreams which saw, the dreams they could not accomplish. And I'm glad the dreams which were not allowed to be accomplished by the HR or by the culture. That is what I am thinking of. Yeah. So some participation, please, before we move ahead quickly. Yeah. Go ahead. Anyone? Speaking is compulsory in my session. बोलना तो पड़ेगा ही. Yes, please. I don't know whether we are listening or one or two people are speaking. What are others? Shall I point out some people? Captain Saab, you want to share something? Captain Saab, from your army experience or something? Captain Saab, are you there? Captain Najib?
Yes, I'm there. I'm not from Army, I'm from Merchant Navy. So, yeah. So, usually, whatever we are getting from the my
I'm so sorry, sir.
company.
I'm so sorry. Would you want to share some experience?
Well, yes, that is correct. Lot of things, what we say, we share with the company and tell them to, just add it in the our, general SOPs or whatever is there, so that that can be implemented accordingly.
So in the organization in which you're currently working, you may not want to name, do you feel that they support employees with an entrepreneurial mindset, or they're doing things which develops an entrepreneurial mindset in employees, or do they want employees to behave like employees? Come do some routine work and go home. We don't want to develop. What is this? What is your take on your current organization? If you want to comment, if you don't want to comment, that's also fine.
Well, whatever we see, we just mention to them, and the main thing is whatever we are getting from the company, and we just have to pass same to the employees on board and get it as a routine, way to get it done. So mostly the thing has been done by the company. We are just to implement on board the ship.
So am I understanding it right when what you're telling is that there are companies who actually do not want the employees to behave entrepreneurially, and there are companies who want their employees to behave entrepreneurially. So the world can be divided into two major types, and both are right. I'm not telling both are wrong or someone is right, or both are right in their own context, because if the industry is very static, if the promoter or the owner is not himself or herself growth mindset oriented, and if things are well set, we need people just to manage. There is no need for developing an entrepreneurial mindset, and therefore HR will not play the role, because HR is not told by the promoter to do that. But in startups, in high growth companies, in information technology or energy or AI or some other upcoming sectors, there is no scope but to be entrepreneurial. And individual employee ideas need to be asked for. They need to be made accountable to get these ideas done. Every department may need to have an idea champion. And so Tata as a culture, so I'll go behind and then come back for all of you together. Wait. Let me go last and then come back again. So if you
I
see
just
part
wanted
of
to
an
share,
org-
Devang sir, I
sorry,
just wanted to share, in
yes,
our organization, apart from, promoting the regular activities, and there are certain programs, our HR will, keeps, motivating the team, making the
yes,
persons, awarding like Dronacharya, matlab, identifying the
yeah,
people
awards,
who
yeah,
can train the people. Okay, and
yes.
giving the support in terms of material context or the selecting the topics, and learn them officially and also teach the others. That is one thing. And identifying the people, high potential people, and promoting to the higher levels, not only in a routine function, it is in the other functions like innovation, marketing, like that. So in our organization, yes, apart from the routine, HR also involves in other activities like promoting the people, identifying the people, like that. Not to the extent of asking them to start a new business, not like that, but identifying the potential and selecting the right people for the right role.
So that will not it fall in the traditional practices only, Mr. Bandy? And I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But choices have consequences. And okay, the good part of the story is that at least high potentials are identified. Now, I don't know whether high potentials are aggressive or they are entrepreneurial mindset, because there's a difference between being aggressive and having an entrepreneurial mindset. So aggression will fade away easily. Entrepreneurial mindset will stay for life.
You're very
Yeah,
right.
a person is
During the initial stages, they form a structure, how to build and identifying the people. Over a period of time, what I see is it gets dropped down the graph.
possibly
Okay.
because it is that model of HPT or high potential team is based on aggression, and
Ah,
aggression psychologically is a temporary phenomenon.
okay.
Entrepreneurial mindset is a way of living. It's an attitude which stays for life. Now, two
Mm.
choices here. One, a good part of your employees may not have that potential and you develop it. And a
Mm.
good part of employees already have that potential and they don't actually need HR support at all. They will find their own way and they will do things which they can do. So it's
True.
very challenging. It's not as easy as it appears to be on paper. One, second, am I preparing a employee for his next role? So that is career management, which is again a traditional role.
Mm.
What I'm trying to come, so I'll give an example. There's a political party who wanted to enter Gujarat against BJP, and I was a
Okay.
part of that meeting. It is not Congress. It is not Congress. Some other political party. And I was a part of that meeting. One of my friends took me to that meeting, and we were discussing how to develop this political party in Gujarat. So thoughts came and brainstorming happened and this and that. And someone told, let us create a foot army of 5,000 people. And this army will go door to door and this and that. And wait, one of my friends who is into entrepreneurship, like me, coach and trainer, he told that why can't we find one person who is a potential CM candidate and he will create the other 20,000. So
Okay.
now this thinking of getting one right person who will create the 20,000 versus we will develop the 20,000 people. That gap is the gap in entrepreneurial mindset, Mr. Bandy. That's where I am
Understood.
coming from.
Understood. Thank you.
That's the way. So Google could have very easily found out an external CEO, but they promoted Sundar to become the CEO and gave the firm's responsibility to him. And he is acting as if he is the owner of the company, which is actually required, but he's not the owner. He's only a paid employee. He may have some shares here and there. That's a different story. Whether to share profits or not in the new venture. So it's a very complicated topic, although, but I'll give you some cases of Tata. So for Google, Gmail was developed by an employee. Orkut was developed by an employee. For Facebook, the like function was developed by an employee. For Coca-Cola, the logo was developed by an employee. Now, this all comes from the fact that are you measuring and mapping and supporting your team for other areas and issues other than their work roles? You have to go beyond their work roles and tell them. So, example, if someone has a hobby of dancing, singing, music, art, architecture, literature. Can you think of developing a entrepreneurial activity around his or her hobby along with the business and the profession? That is what I'm asking. Highest level of incubation centers. I have seen some large corporates having incubation centers. They invite entrepreneurial ideas and then they fund those ideas. The company takes a stake in the ideas which the employees have developed and then buys their. So once the employee gives the idea, it gets converted into a new company and the company is then bought over by the base company. I know many companies in Gujarat, and I am a consultant for setting up incubation centers within large corporates to develop. And entrepreneurship is the only. My question to all of you is, how long will the promoter be the center of energy for growth? He alone can never be. How long can he keep on pushing? He will get tired sometimes. She will get tired sometimes. So all organizational growth should come from people. And if people will lead the growth of the organization, new products, new services, innovations, new businesses, new regions, franchisees, expansions, I don't know what you want to tell it. It will only come when people are set free to think through. People are given that context to work. And there the role of HR comes in. And they have to go away from the whole point of measuring and policing and controlling the employees, but giving them a context. HR themselves becoming gardeners, where the employee seed converts to a tree and the tree leads to another tree and kind of growth comes in. So yeah, so Tata has been, you can check tatainnovista.com. Tata has been fundamentally very strong in developing an entrepreneurial system within, and they have a very smart innovation and entrepreneurial system called Tata Innovista, where these types of products have been developed and there's an impact and money comes in and etc. So I just glance through them. Design disruption, the whole concept of Titan and etc. There was a watch called Skeletal Quartz, which was developed by an employee, and then it was made a fundamental product in the company. Auto clustering and brand coding of TV commercials. They came up with a machine learning solution for the company, and it created a positive culture in the organization. Decision-making tool internally they gave. So even if we are as a team of employees, even if you're trying Kaizen, you may call it Kaizen, you may call it Quality Circle, you may call it Gemba Walks, you may want to call whatever you want to call. There was a new process which was installed in Jamshedpur in Tata Steel, which saved around 15 crore per annum. That is entrepreneurship. Cost saving is entrepreneurship. Are you giving the power to the employees to think towards making their lives better, making the life of the company better, coming up with ideas and solutions for their work, coming up with ideas and solutions for new products, new markets, and giving them that ownership to flourish? I don't know how many of you would agree and know Google gives 20% of the employee time, paid time, free to pursue all what they want to do. Sports, hobbies, reading, sleeping, going home, holiday, I don't know what. An average Google employee stays in the office for 2-3 months, doesn't go home. Now, I don't know whether you want to create that culture. And they love being there. They don't feel tortured because they have an ownership. They have a say in the company's growth, and they bring growth to the company by launching new products, new ideas, and new businesses while continuing their base work which they are doing. Yeah. Connected TV was launched, again, AI, and many, many examples. And this is a detail of the organizations which we did. The company launched something which is called TCS Manthan, and the communication mechanism was set up, and the terrific benefit of that. 1,009 entries were received for Shark Tank type contest across the country. They did an internal Shark Tank. Yeah, you understand, people coming and presenting ideas to internal Shark Tank employees, and TCS Ion, TCS Igneo, and there were many other products, ideas which came, and it had a fundamental impact also later. So Zudio, the new Tata product, is an innovation which an employee is leading. It was his idea. And for those who are knowing, Tata Sumo was an idea of an employee, and it became a fundamental. One more company which I love, which follows these practices, is called Mahindra and Mahindra, and one of the most wonderful ways to grow is to grow 10x. So Mahindra Rise was conceptualized by Anand Mahindra, and they wanted the company to grow by 10 times, and they encapsulated the problem called Mahindra Rise, and it was an old company, but they were not working at their full potential. So every employee was told to rise up to this. Communication was done. It itself is a case study of Harvard Business School, and amazing results came. Amazing. So this is the concept given, and I'll tell you what the results were there. Yeah. So they wanted to make the world a better place to live in, new businesses, new products, and etc. So all of this to be done is not that easy. We call it corporate entrepreneurship actually, and or intrapreneurship also. And for HR to do all of this, it's not an easy task. It requires a cultural alignment. It requires the promoter to be focused towards doing this. It requires growth and aspiring board members. It requires the role of the HR to change. It requires hiring people with entrepreneurial potential and paying them more if they're available. And if they're not available, converting the potential of the current employee to become an entrepreneur. It requires some spending money on employees being trained to display entrepreneurial potential. It requires some effort to take them away from their routines for them to think better and grow. I've just been commissioned and empaneled with a very large media company from Bombay for a 2-day offsite on me nudging them and helping them to think and develop innovative business models from the current structure. So there are companies who are working hard to do so, because growth will always come from new products, new regions, new businesses, and you need to get more out of your current people. So we are running a 6 months entrepreneurship development program and developing an internal incubation center. We are having a Shark Tank type model there, where employees will come up with ideas and innovations, and we will pay them and we will take them ahead. So a lot of training has to be given, as I already told. There's a lot of empowerment and autonomy which the people will want to be given, rewards to be given, and tolerance for failure. An employee may launch a new idea and it can fail, like just a startup. So the whole game is about creating a startup culture in the organization, and specifically for the Generation Z and for the middle-aged employees, specifically for both of them, because they are sitting in a danger zone, they are sitting in a terror zone. If you don't help them, they will start on their own, or they will leave, or they will start businesses while doing a job within the organization. I don't know how many of you have seen the Hindi movie called Rocket Singh, Salesman of the Year. Anyone has seen the movie? It's a Ranbir Kapoor Indian Bollywood movie, Rocket Singh, Salesperson of the Year. Now, the Rocket Singh is Ranbir Singh, and he's frustrated by the way the boss treats him. And he challenges himself and he starts his own business using the company resources within the company, and then becomes bigger than his employer. He's told to leave the job, but he becomes bigger. Now, my question is, why did he do that? Because he was not respected for, he was not asked for, and he was not mentored while he was being an employee. If he could have been mentored as an entrepreneur, he would have led a full region or would have bought businesses. And why I'm so passionate about this is I have been an entrepreneur all my life. I work like an entrepreneur. I'm different. I will not be okay with 2 punch 1 lunch model, and I am like this. So, and vibe creates tribes. So I create people like me around me. And are we good employees? Yes, we are. But maybe we may be a bit more outward and more extrovert. But definitely we are paid more than what others are paid, because we show entrepreneurial potential. We show entrepreneurial potential, and we take a lot of stress, and we want to grow ourselves by helping the company grow. It requires a lot of cross-functional collaboration, management team sitting with technology, technology sitting with marketing, marketing sitting with finance, and HR should leverage this cross-functional platforms through technology, like what Tata did. There should be resource allocation. As for example, if you identified 5, 10, 15 employees who are good, they need to be given separate space, maybe a separate office, maybe a separate time, and they need to be given some leverages. So I was working at a university in Gandhinagar, Gujarat in 2007.
There seems to be some issue at Devangsa's end. Just let's just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. He'll rejoin maybe.
I'm so sorry, I disconnected suddenly. But imagine the promoter identifying me, talking with me, and bringing me on board, and so a lot of resource allocation which we want to come in. This concept is called by three names: employee entrepreneurship. It is also called corporate entrepreneurship, and it is also called intrapreneurship. Yeah, there are three words. So it requires a lot of resource allocation. It requires a lot of help from HR. It requires a lot of help from the system. One. You have to identify them, you have to validate them, and there are a lot of benefits which we need to develop, a lot of benefits which are required for. So empowerment and autonomy, training and development, resource allocation, recognition you have to give, separatism you have to create, and there's a continuous feedback. Out of 10 ideas, 9 may fail. But if one idea succeeds, it can give you crores and multi-crore rupees of revenue. Now, if HR wants to do this, how it can do this? People, they will resist the change. Leaders whose power will be challenged, they will ask questions. Not all will be risk friendly. People will go away from the risk. Not all organizations will have all the resources to support. There will be silos and bureaucracy where people are not allowed to go freedom wise. Not all will accept the whole model of doing a job plus doing extra, and it's very difficult to measure the success. Do you measure success at an idea level? Do you measure success at a P&L or a balance sheet level? Do you measure success at a business level? I don't know. So it's all investment. Like what startups are, we do investment in startups, but you have to be very positive how to make it sustainable, how to do it together. You have to treat the person as while I was in that university, I was a normal faculty, and in the common meetings, I used to sit as a CEO. So difficult. There are many challenges which come in, and not all are able to do that. What is shown. So yeah, the key takeaways and the process are like this. So you to create a culture, you to identify opportunities and validate them, you to give resources, you to integrate, you to manage the risk, etc. So Google's 20% time I already told about it. So who are entrepreneurs and how does HR help them develop themselves? They are employees of a company who do a project or a business. They are given the time and the freedom. They're not working solo. They have the resources and capabilities of the firm at their disposal. They're not entrepreneurs. They're paid entrepreneurs. They're employee entrepreneurs. They have a broader vision, and they may bring radical changes to the company. Definitely, there are very many benefits: top line, bottom line, profit, sales, growth, deliverables, getting the maximum out of employees, business ideas, profits, etc. And these people are like different, so They're their own venture capitalists, they are aggressive, they are high potentials, of course. They don't want to leave the organization, but still want to start a new business within the organizations. And yeah, so this is what I am into. We have done this, we have talked about this. Not always they are successful, but HR has to play a critical. So I rest my case. Thank you so very much for listening. Video